Hey there, and welcome. So, today we're going to explore a really special group of adjectives. Now, these aren't your typical descriptive words like blue or big. Instead, these adjectives answer two super important questions: how much and how many. Let's dive in and see how it all works. So, here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with the one big question that unlocks everything. Then we'll look at the two main types of these adjectives, clear up a couple of tricky spots, and finish it all off with a quick recap. It's going to be great. We're all used to adjectives that describe things, right? A tall building or a red car. But what about when we want to talk about the amount of something? Well, to get that right, there's really only one simple question you need to ask yourself. And this is it. This is the big question. Are we talking about stuff we can count or stuff we can't? Seriously, the answer to this one question will tell you exactly which adjective to use, every single time. Okay, so this lays it out really nicely. Over on the left, you've got countable nouns. Simple enough. You can have one book, four books, you just count them. But on the right, we have uncountable nouns. You can't really say one water or two rices, right? You think of it as a whole concept, just like time. Okay, let's jump into our first category and see how this all plays out. We're going to start with those uncountable nouns that we were just talking about. So, adjectives of quantity, they're the ones that answer how much. And here's the key thing to remember. They always partner up with uncountable nouns. They're like a team that never separates. Let's check out a few examples here. You see how some, little, enough, and much are all describing those uncountable nouns. We're talking about rice, sugar, time, and effort. We can't count them, but we can definitely describe their quantity. All right, so we've met the how much crew. Now let's switch gears and get to know the team that handles all the nouns that we actually can count. And here we have the other side of the coin. Adjectives of number, they answer how many or tell us the order of things. And you guessed it, they are always used with countable nouns. It's that simple pairing again. Now, these adjectives basically come in two main types. First up, you've got your cardinal numbers. These are just your basic counting numbers, 1, 2, 3. They tell you exactly how many, like 3 pencils. Then you have ordinal numbers, which are all about position or rank, first, second, third. They tell you the order of things, like the first prize. Okay, let's tackle a classic mix-up, much versus many. This is one of those things that trips a lot of people up, but the truth is, we've already learned the rule for this. Let's just make it official. And look, this table just lays it all out for us, plain and simple. You use much for quantity with uncountable things like water or time, and use many for number with countable things like pencils or books. How much water? How many pencils? See? It always comes back to that very first question we asked. All right, now for something a little more subtle, but really, really important. Did you know that adding just one tiny word, the letter A, can completely flip the meaning of a sentence? Let's look at the difference between little and few and a few. So let's start with uncountable stuff, like money. If you say, I have a little money, that feels pretty positive, right? It means you have some, you can probably buy something. But if you take away that A and say, I have little money, the meaning suddenly becomes negative. It means you have almost none. You feel that difference? And guess what? It's the exact same idea for countable nouns when you use a few and few. If you say she has a few friends, that's positive. She has some, she isn't lonely. But if you say she has few friends, that sounds kind of sad, right? It's negative. It implies she's lonely. That one little A makes a huge difference. All right, we have covered a ton of ground here. We've talked about countable versus uncountable, quantity versus number, and that subtle but powerful little word A. So let's lock it all in with a final recap. Let's just run through the big rules one more time. Adjectives of quantity tell us how much and go with things you can't count. Adjectives of number tell us how many and go with things you can count. That means much and little are for uncountable stuff, while many and few are for the countable things. And of course, remember that adding A before little or few gives them a positive spin. And that is a wrap on adjectives of quantity and number. You've now got the tools to talk about amounts perfectly. So what about adjectives that point to things or show who owns something? Well, that is exactly where we're going next time. See you then.